Hello, my name is Jaina, and welcome to the Tech for Seniors video tutorial series. This video has been developed with older adults in mind. We've custom-made each video to address the needs of seniors and commonly asked questions when using an iPad. This video is a supplement to Class 0. In this video, we will be building upon the things learned in the home screen and gestures video. If you have not yet watched that video, we highly recommend that you watch it before this video in order to learn the basics on how to use your iPad. In Class 0, we will go over how to get to your iPad home screen, choosing a preferred language, setting up and remembering passcodes, adjusting auto lock, as well as go over accessibility features such as adjusting screen brightness, adjusting volume, changing the font size, and using zoom. You may notice that some of the skills you learn in this video series are repeated on multiple videos. We do this on purpose as a refresher as well as to encourage you to continue practicing what you learn in class. Remember that if you feel like the video is going too slow, you can always speed up the video to go faster. Similarly, if you feel like the video is going too fast, pause the video to catch up. You don't have to learn at the same speed as the video. Now that you know what we'll be going over in this video, let's start with home. That is, the home button, of course. In the Tech for Seniors program, some people have the 3rd generation iPad and some have the 4th generation iPad. Let's begin with those of you who have the 3rd generation iPad. The home button is the only button in the front face of the iPad. Pressing it will take you to your home screen, which houses the app icons on the first page of your iPad. If you are inside an app, you can always push the home button to bring you back to your home screen. Besides bringing you back to the home screen, the home button has several other features. If you tap the home button twice quickly, it opens up the multitasking screen, which displays all of your open apps. We'll learn more about this screen later in class, but for now, just know that you can access this screen by tapping on the home button twice quickly. Another feature of the home button is using Siri, which is Apple's voice-activated personal assistant. We'll talk more about Siri in another class, but for now, know that if you press and hold the home button for several seconds, it will bring up Siri. From our classes, we noticed that some seniors were tapping the home button incorrectly, either by accidentally pressing it multiple times and bringing up the multitasking screen, or pressing it too long, which brings up Siri, Apple's virtual assistant. Remember that you only need to tap the home button for less than 1 second to get to the home screen. See here the pressure and time at which I am pressing the home button. One single quick press is all you need. Pause the video here to practice pressing your home button to take you to the home screen. Now, before we learn how to get to the home screen on the 4th generation or 4th gen iPad, we need to learn how to do one hand gesture that you will use to get to the home screen. On these iPads, you don't have a home button, so you have to use a specific gesture to get to your home screen. Hand gestures, or simply gestures, are ways to touch the iPad to get it to do something. If you don't remember the 5 gestures to control your iPad, review the home screen and gestures video. The gesture used to get to the home screen for the 4th gen iPad is swipe. To swipe, move one finger across the screen quickly. You can swipe in any direction, but primarily up, down, left, or right. To get to your home screen, swipe up from the bottom edge of your screen. Again, try swiping from the bottom edge of your iPad where the screen meets the frame and up to get to your home screen. You do not need to put hard pressure on the screen as you swipe. So long as your finger stays on the screen as you swipe, you'll be good to go. The iPad screen is very sensitive to touch and only needs light pressure to be controlled for certain actions. Think of the way you slide your finger across a surface to check for dust. That is the kind of pressure and motion you want to use to swipe. Pause the video here and practice swiping from the bottom edge of the iPad screen and up to get to the home screen. The next thing we'll go over is how to select a preferred language for your iPad. Tap on your Settings app. Tap General, then tap on Language and Region. On the next screen, tap on iPad Language. Then scroll to pick your language from the list. Afterwards, tap on Continue to activate the new language. There you have it. Your new language is now on your iPad. Once your iPad updates the language, your device should automatically display the language you selected. Now that you have an iPad, it's important to keep your device secure, and you can do this by setting up your iPad passcode. This passcode needs to be entered to unlock your iPad when you turn it on or when you wake it. Go to Settings, scroll down and tap Touch ID and Passcode. Tap Turn Passcode On. You can then create your 6-digit passcode and confirm it. You now have added more security to your iPad. And speaking of passcodes, it's important to remember your passcode. From our classes, we've noticed that some seniors had difficulty remembering the passcode they created to lock their iPad. This is why we highly recommend you write your passcode on a piece of paper or journal. Hide it in a safe place you have constant access to and can supervise, like your bedroom. It's also a good idea to keep 2 copies of your passcode written in 2 different places, like one in a journal in your room and another on a piece of paper kept in your wallet. With your passcode now written and stored in a safe place, let's go over Auto Lock. When you first receive your iPad will lock automatically when it's not in use after a certain amount of time. You can change this time frame by going to Settings. Open your Settings app. Then tap on Display and Brightness. You can see that your auto lock has a default time period of how long your iPad will stay on without turning off before it auto locks. Tap on Auto Lock and select the desired amount of time you'd like before your iPad auto locks. We recommend 5 or 10 minutes since all of us are still learning how to use the iPad and may not want it to lock so quickly. Up next, we'll be going over some accessibility features of your iPad. And the first feature is adjusting the brightness of your iPad screen. There are 2 ways to adjust your screen brightness. The first option is to adjust the brightness in your settings. Open Settings. Then tap the Display and Brightness option. Here you will see a slider, which you can use to make your screen darker by sliding to the left or brighter by sliding to the right. You can also turn on Automatic so that your screen brightness will adjust automatically to the lighting of your environment. It is up to you whether or not you prefer to have the auto option on. Since many of you are getting used to the touch of an iPad, it is important to use a slider by sliding it slowly. This gives you optimal control of the brightness. We noticed that in our class, many people were sliding too fast and it was difficult to control the brightness level. So again, start off by using the slider slowly. Pause the video here to practice using the slider and dragging it left and right to adjust the brightness of your screen. Now I know going into your settings to change the brightness might sound a bit tedious, and that is why the second way to adjust your brightness is through a shortcut. No matter which way you're holding your iPad, you can touch on the top right corner of your screen, then drag your finger diagonally across towards the bottom left corner. This gesture is called swiping. This will bring up the control center of your iPad, which allows you to change the brightness by using your finger to slide up or down the brightness bar. To get out of the control panel, simply tap outside the control center window. If you have the 3rd generation iPad, you can also push your home button to get out of the control center. If you have the 4th generation iPad, you can escape the control center by simply swiping up from the bottom of your screen and dragging your finger up. Pause the video here to practice dragging the brightness bar up and down in the control center to adjust the brightness of your screen. For some seniors, the default font size might be too small or difficult to read. So, if you prefer to change the font size or the text on your iPad, you can do so by going to your settings. In your settings, tap Accessibility. Then tap Display and Text Size. Here, you can adjust your text by tapping on larger text. Turn on larger accessibility sizes. Then adjust the text size using the font size slider. You can see that the text will change size as you move the slider left or right. Move the slider left to make your font size smaller, or right to make your font size larger. Additionally, if you tap back, you can also tap bold text to make your text bold. Once you're done, return to your home screen to make sure text has changed to your desired font size. Now let's talk about volume. There are a couple ways you can adjust the volume on your iPad. The first way is by using the volume buttons on the side of your iPad. When holding your iPad upright, the camera is on top and the volume buttons will be on your right side. Press the top button to increase the volume and press the bottom button to decrease the volume. As you practice pushing these buttons, you can see a bar appear at the top of the screen. It will fill all the way with white when you are at the maximum volume level, or this bar will be completely unfilled or not white when your volume is silent. If your iPad is locked, you will not be able to use the volume buttons. Instead, you can adjust the volume through a second way, which is in the control center. As we learned previously, you can access your control center by swiping from the top right corner of your screen to the bottom left. From the control center, you can use your finger to drag the volume bar up or drag it down. If you are having a hard time adjusting the volume this way, try to drag your finger slowly up and down the volume bar until you can master the proper touch and pressure used for your iPad. Pause the video here and practice changing your volume through the control center. The last thing we are going over in this video is how to use the zoom gesture on your iPad. Sometimes when browsing the internet, you may want to zoom into a photo or zoom into small text. This is where you can use a zoom gesture. You can use Zoom in many apps, like Safari, which is Apple's web browser for the internet. To zoom, place 2 fingers on the screen near each other. Spread them apart to zoom in, or move them towards each other to zoom out. Use whichever 2 fingers you're comfortable with. Most people use their thumb and index fingers in order to get the best range to zoom in or out, as well as the best control when zooming. Others use their index and middle finger. It's up to you to use whichever 2 fingers you are most comfortable with. Again, put 2 fingers on the screen and spread them apart to zoom in to make them larger. Once you let go after you zoom in, you can use 1 finger to move the screen around, either up, down, left, or right. To get back to the original screen size, zoom out by putting your 2 fingers opened and squeezing them towards each other on the screen until they can no longer get smaller. From our classes, we've noticed that some seniors had difficulty controlling the speed and size of the zoom. Some would zoom in too fast or not enough. When you're first learning Zoom, try by pinching in or out slowly. See here the speed at which I am zooming in or out. Try this speed first until you get comfortable with this zoom gesture. Remember, try zooming slowly. Pause the video here to practice how to zoom in and zoom out. So that's the end of Class 0. We learned about the home screen, selecting language, setting up and remembering passcodes, adjusting auto lock, adjusting brightness, adjusting volume, changing font size, and using zoom. I'm sure you learned a lot of new things today, and don't worry if you don't remember every single detail. The main takeaway is practice, practice, practice. The more you practice the skills you learn in these videos, the easier you will be able to use your iPad. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, you are not alone. We're here for you and excited to continue assisting you along your journey to improve your skills in technology. Check out our other videos to learn more about how to use an iPad. Till next time, we'll see you back here for Tech for Seniors, where we're helping older adults learn technology, one iPad at a time.